And good morning. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Had a good time with my guys, Rob and Jeremy, this morning over on 105.7 The Fan. Didn't have a good time watching baseball last night. I haven't had a good time watching baseball in a while. Not sure what else there is to say. I kind of keep repeating it, and I hate to be like a broken record. It feels miserable right now, but the season's not over, and you're not firing anybody today, and the whole thing now. Somebody... It's purgatory because you want the answer. You just want to know. And it's sad because this should be the time of the year where we're like, really excited about playoff baseball. And in a different world, right? Like if you started the season struggling, but all of a sudden you started winning games, then you would be. You'd be fired the F up right now. You'd have the exact same record. It's just, what have you done for me lately? That's the nature of the sport. None of it cancels out. No point that you make about it cancels out any of the other points. You can't say, well, they're still right in it. They still hold a playoff spot, and all you got to do is you get in to win. That's true, but that doesn't mean that suddenly you feel good about their chances of doing that. It doesn't mean that even the things that have worked for this team this season aren't working right now. The fact that they haven't utterly fallen apart is really being held together by Scotch tape. It's funny because Reed and I had a conversation the other day, and I was like, look, I get it. The offense has been inconsistent, but it hasn't been bad. Well, a week later, it's basically just bad. Not even a week. It's what it is. I mean, this has been some anemic, woeful S. And to say, well, you know, you've reached the dog days of summer, whatever it is, man... Everybody's got to play this many games. That's not different. That's not unique to the Orioles. That's not something that only they're dealing with. There's no getting around how truly atrocious it is. And what do? Because in our world, we just want there to be some magic switch that you flip. The manager goes and throws some bats, screams, whatever it is, that's going to be the moment. I don't know what it is. That's the thing about baseball. There is no cure. There is no, here's the path you follow. The easiest thing to say is it seems like it would help for the Orioles to get some guys back that they have a chance to get back before the season's over. We can only say that so many times. But in the meantime, they don't have those guys. And they still have to hold on to a playoff spot. We keep foregone conclusioning it. It is not a foregone conclusion. It is still very likely, but it's not foregone. The one thing that was constant for this baseball team for much of the season was Corbin Burnes. And even Corbin Burnes, it's not like he got hit hard most of the night last night, but he got hit again. This team has been a bad defensive baseball team. And I get that it's kind of weird that it was the pitcher that was the problem last night defensively, but I've seen this way too many times. It's just bad on bad on bad on bad. And yet, even that doesn't cancel out their record. Doesn't suddenly make it so you can just say, well, the season's over and they have no hope. Just ask a Texas Rangers fan how they felt September of last year. It's rough because we want to be fired up about it. We want to be excited about the idea of spending the weekend at the ballpark. And we're not. And you can't bamboozle us into being. You can't pretend like we're not seeing what we're seeing. I wish I had a bigger. I wish I had something, one way, the other, other than to just say we'll have to keep talking about it tomorrow. We'll have to keep talking about it tomorrow. We'll have to keep talking about it tomorrow. I've said a few times. So those of you that hate Brandon Hyde, they go through like a true collapse. It's results that matter. That's baseball. You're measured by your results. You guys wanted to be measured by, does he yell enough? Or whatever nonsense crap, or boy, he made this decision, but he could have made another decision. And you're measured by one thing, the results. And the Orioles haven't collapsed. They have largely played 500 ball. So even in their downturn, they've remained stable. That all said, they go through, if those of you that are, portraying that this is as bleak as it possibly can be, if those of you that are saying this is the end, if that's what happens, if there really is an ungodly collapse, then you'll probably get your way. Because again, you're measured in baseball by results. In most sports, by results. I'd still be surprised by that. But not, I can't tell you it's impossible. I have felt that a number of times this season. It has felt like we were on the verge of it all falling apart. Given the sheer number of injuries, given the significance of those injuries, and every time you felt that way, it seemed like they won a game that stabilized things. It felt that way in Cleveland. To me, it felt that way last Sunday. Every time you're on the cusp of, this might be it. This might be coming completely unglued. Somehow, some way, they manage to at least stabilize, get the thing back afloat. This weekend, I said this yesterday, you're facing a team that you have really barely been competitive against. And sure as hell weren't last night. One team showed up last night. The other team had a view. If this goes the wrong, maybe it really could be their undoing. I don't give Forrester credit for much, anything, but he used to talk a lot about the hardest thing to do is stop losing. It's something that we try to over-explain almost. We find ourselves obsessed with vibes, right? We were doing that last weekend. We're all Zapruder filming this effing James McCann presentation. Obsessing over it. Dissecting it, picking it apart. About the vibes are off. We do that. It's so much more simplistic than that. When you win, you're a winning team. When you lose, you're a losing team. It's really that simple. We try to make it much more complicated than that. But it almost always comes down to that. When you're winning, things are going well. When you're losing, they're not. When you're losing, people show up, they're miserable, they don't want to be there. It's awful. It sits on you. When you're winning, you couldn't have more joy in coming to work. It is almost always that black and white. You'll hear stories. We talk to millions of athletes who are like, yeah, we didn't do a lot of winning, but I had a lot of good memories there. I had a lot of good times. Rodrigo Lopez is one that stands out for me. Never did anything in Baltimore, but loves Baltimore. When the Diamondbacks came to town, he wanted to make sure his family was here because he equates it with his personal success. Like, that's where I found some personal success. It's not like there are no examples of people that had a bad time winning or a good time losing. There are occasionally. But overwhelmingly, it really is as easy as that. You're winning, you're having fun, you're losing, you're not. And it sticks with you when you're losing. It is a stench. It is a mental issue that you have to deal with every day. There's an anxiety, a dread that comes with it. You lose a few more games this weekend, it really goes south. You get swept. At some point, that is who you are. And this goes into unmitigated disaster territory. I can't tell you that's what's going to happen, that it's the most likely scenario. Again, it's tough. I am I'm as frustrated as everybody else is. I keep thinking about I kept thinking all year long how fun September, October were going to be around here. How to make plans around what September and October were going to feel like. And yeah, you get to this point where you're like, I don't know. I don't know if that's what it's going to feel like. I don't know. But whenever you have that thought, you got to remind yourself, but what if they turn around and win? What if somehow they do? What if they win all 3 games this weekend? What if that were the case? What if they did? And all of a sudden we're like, all right, I guess everything changes. Cade Povich becomes a thing. It's the damnedest thing, baseball. They play so many freaking games, man. The way that we feel today can completely change. We are really not that far away from truly believing this was not just a team that could win the World Series, but like the favorite to win the World Series.
Is that what makes this so frustrating? Is that really all we can do is just hope?
It's not. I mean, you and I, yeah.
Well,
that's definitely all we can do. What else would we do? Play third base? I mean, I don't know what the other option is there.
Well, pitch. I think that would be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that would be helpful, right? Like that's all we can do. I think to project it a little bit more, that there's not really even warranted conversation to have. I think that's what makes it even tougher. We like having things to talk about. We'd like to be talking about, like, remember when our biggest concern this year was, do you want to win the division, or are you better off not winning the division because we've seen that division winners have a disadvantage in the playoffs? That was the topic. You just like to have something to talk about that's not miserable. Right now, you don't even want to talk about the Orioles. You get together with people right now, you don't even want to discuss the baseball team because it's just going to be... And that sucks, man, because it's our civic gathering place in the summer. Now we're reminded we're only a few years removed from it being so much worse than that. They'll try again. I mean, I hate it being this. Our guy John in Little Rock messaged me this morning and said, I'm going to need you to talk me off the ledge. The O's are a disaster. They may not make the playoffs at this point. I can't talk you off the ledge in that I can't guarantee you that everything's going to be fine. I can't. And I don't know what that looks like if the scenario goes the other way. But we're not there. It's not even warranted having that conversation because we're not there. There's entirely too much time left in the season for us to be doing that. We don't know what the conversation's going to be like next week. There will be time to have that conversation. You get there, there'll be plenty of time to talk about it. What went wrong? Was it just the injuries? Who's to blame? We dove into some of that yesterday. after the Trevor Rogers news came out. On Twitter, a lot of us were doing that, right? Trevor Rogers was optioned. Good. That's the way it should work. If you're not helping, your roster spot shouldn't be guaranteed simply because of the manner in which you were acquired. The same thing can be said about others on this team. Craig Kimbrell, Gregory Soto. It's a lot easier to do with someone who has options. Dramatically easier to do with someone who has options. Because you're not giving them up. You're simply saying right now they can't do it, and we're not going to stick them out there every fifth day. Now, do I know that Cade Povich can? Sure don't know that. Don't. Do I trust the idea of like Cole Irvin moving back into the rotation? No, not even a little bit. But Trevor Rogers couldn't get the job done. So you don't just simply put him on the roster and put him out there every fifth day because you paid Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers to get him. Does that make it a disaster of a trade? Way too soon for that. It was questionable the moment it was made. I mean, truth be told, the irony of these deals is that they've basically gone as we expected them to go. I mean, Eflin's been better than we thought, but nobody with a brain was second guessing the Eflin deal. He was a qualified starting pitcher. You got to pay a real price for that. They did. They paid a real price to get a qualified starting pitcher that could help. As we talked about, maybe we didn't see Eloy Jimenez being as helpful as he's been, but nobody was down on the move because it cost you so little and you didn't have to guarantee anything. Again, nobody with a brain was down on the move. As I said time and time again, I could understand where they were with Austin Hayes. I don't think they needed to trade him, but I understood it. And Sir Anthony Dominguez felt like someone that could be helpful. The Christian Pache part was bat-ass insane. Some people didn't want to acknowledge that at first. But that became clear when they didn't even put him on the team. The Trevor Rogers one, in that moment, you could say, okay, but it doesn't really make sense. Not because the price is so overwhelming. We all got it. Everyone knew Connor Norby was going to be dealt. Everyone knew that. We just thought that maybe you could get him in a trade that actually netted you something. Kyle Stowers, I hate saying was a throwaway, but for the Orioles, Kyle Stowers was a throwaway. I root for him. I hope he goes on to have a lovely career. But Trevor Rogers didn't make sense. Best case scenario, you thought he could clear the bar just to be your fifth starting pitcher at that point. And the way he had been pitching in the month leading up, the results said he could. The results said he could clear the bar of what at the time was a disastrous month for Albert Suarez. Go figure.
So you just needed a little pressure.
I guess. Trevor Rogers couldn't clear that bar. It never made sense. The Orioles needed real pitching help. Trevor Rogers wasn't real pitching help. And saying that he has control, and everybody kept telling, there's a few people that keep telling me about his control. That'll be helpful if he can pitch. Like, control only matters if the player's good. And I have no idea if Trevor Rogers is going to be good again. I have no clue. We can keep saying, hey, get him in the lab, get him. I don't know why there's overwhelming confidence that the Orioles can just continue to fix pitchers. I don't know where that comes from. At the moment, we feel good about Albert Suarez. At the moment, we didn't feel good about him 3 weeks ago. I don't know where that confidence is that the Orioles can just take something broken and fix it. But he didn't need to be on the roster. And to some extent, you credit the Orioles for the fact that they were willing to say, okay, we might have goofed on this one. And don't force him to go out there every fifth day simply because you traded for him. Again, a lot easier to do when a player has options. Far more difficult to do when you're giving that guy up. But at least they did it. It doesn't solve the problem. The problem is they needed more pitching help. They didn't get it. The problem is they are scraping their way through, just trying to find anything that can be of help. What did Brandon Hyde say the other night? We're searching for outs. That's the reality. They are desperately searching for outs. I guess we should acknowledge that wasn't the only move. Of course, it was Matt Bowman.
Got 4 outs yesterday.
Sure did. They found some outs there. What teams has Matt Bowman been a part of this season? Was it his fourth?
All of them, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. 4th. It was his 4th. You want to take a guess or
no?
Move on.
No, I don't think I can name one. I mean, really one. Well, who's he on right now? Who's the team that he plays for right now? I couldn't tell you.
For today, yes. Seattle, Arizona, Minnesota.
I think I did know Seattle.
I didn't know any.
I think I knew that. This sucks, man. This sucks. This is Hannibal Buress, right? Ha ha. This sucks, man. It's just a giant bummer. I don't have anything for you. I can't make it feel better. There's going to be another baseball game tonight. And maybe Cade Povich is going to prove to be the hero. Maybe that's going to be how the team. I don't know what it's going to do for their offense.
No one thought Arrighetti was going to outpitch Burns. So
I don't know. But they also need to score runs.
That is true.
They need to get on base. They need to do that.
See a shake-up in the lineup tonight or something?
They've been shaking up the lineup every night. What more could they possibly do?
Lead off Ramon Arias, just completely flip it on its head.
Couldn't score a run when they had a runner on.
Yeah, well,
that's what it is. Just what it is. All right. Obviously, no man of the match last night. If there had been, boy, I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to do this segment again at some point. It would be brought to you by.
Experience the thrill of the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, coming October 17th to 20th. See the world's best equestrians compete in the sport of eventing, the ultimate test of horse and rider. Enjoy a weekend festival featuring local food, shopping, and fun for all. Come for the event and stay for the experience in Cecil County, home to the Chesapeake Bay waterfront, vibrant small towns, and family entertainment. Tickets on sale now at maryland5star.us.
All right, still to come this morning, we are going to chat with Mike Jones of The Athletic. He wrote about Zay Flowers recently. Who did you just tell me is coming on at 11:30?
Oh, Ken Weinman will join us.
Ken Weinman. I got a bone to pick with him.
Oh, okay.
I got a bone. There were some disparaging comments made earlier this week. He and I are going to have to deal with that. I'm going to be the one to call him out. I'll be the one to say it. I thought he understood what it meant to be an athlete. I thought I hear all the time about his accomplishments at Camp Skylamar over the years. I thought he knew what it meant to be a champion. But apparently he's just a hater, just like all these other radio dorks. So I'm going to have to call him out on behalf of all athletes. We'll deal with that a little bit later on in the program. And when we come back in, Pete Shinnick, Towson football coach. They are 8 days out from the season opener at Cincinnati. We'll talk to him next. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Hey, O's fans, on Friday, August 23rd, come out to Oriole Park at Camden Yards and cheer on the Orioles against the Houston Astros at 7:05. Be sure to arrive early. The first 25,000 fans, 15 and over, will receive a Gunnar Henderson bobblehead presented by Royal Farms. Don't miss out on the last bobblehead giveaway of the season and start your weekend off right with an action-packed night of Orioles baseball. Buy your tickets today at Orioles.com/tickets.
Escape to Ocean City, Maryland, and discover a place that just feels lighter, where every day feels like Saturday and French fries are a food group, where flip-flops are always in fashion and seafood is always in season, where the boardwalk is bustling and the beach is right outside your door, where you can rise with the tide and feel like a kid again. Ocean City, Maryland, somewhere to smile about. Book your trip at OCOcean.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
We've all experienced it before, the fantasy football draft from hell. Your buddy says you can do it at his house, but he never asks his wife. She's screaming at him the whole time and forces you guys to sit outside in the unforgiving heat. Then everyone brings the exact same store-bought 7-layer dip, and somehow you accidentally draft someone named LeVar Jackson because your brain can't function in these circumstances. Don't cop out and just move your draft online this year. Let Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel handle everything for you. Book your draft party, complete with your choice of all-you-can-eat entrees, drinks, and custom draft kits for the whole league, plus a custom trophy for your champion and a $75 gift card for the commish. Visit PressBoxOnline.com/social. That's PressBoxOnline.com/social, and never have a fantasy draft from hell again.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Frederick Keys Baseball is back. With 30 more home games beginning on July 2nd, the Keys are excited to welcome you back to Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium. We want to see you there. Countless promotions will be on display every game, with it ranging from Tap House Tuesdays to Firework Fridays and everything in between. For more information or to buy tickets, call 301-815-9939 or visit frederickkeys.com today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at DriveEasyMD.com.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Friday edition of the program. You might be saying to yourself, hey, where's Stan the Fan Charles today? And the answer is he's down at the Orioles luncheon celebrating Nick Markakis and Terry Crowley as they go into the Orioles Hall of Fame this weekend. Stan will be back with us next week. Well, actually, now that I think about it, a lot of times I try to take that Friday off before Labor Day weekend. We'll see. Maybe it'll be Stan back, but not me. Maybe that'll be the plan. I do try to make that the old 4-day weekend. We'll see. We'll see what the plan is for that. But if you're missing your Stan the Fan Charles fix, then I would encourage you to head on over to Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the Videos tab. You can go to YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video as Stan and Eric Garfield got together last night to discuss Orioles prospects. They focused on the outfield and that sort of next group of outfield prospects. So you can go check that out right now. Again, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the Videos tab, YouTube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. We're just 8 days out from the start of college football season, the local level, obviously, this weekend. A few teams around the country get things underway. Towson is going to open up the season with a trip to Cincinnati 1 week from tomorrow. Joining us now to preview the Tigers, he is, of course, Towson head coach Pete Shinnick, and he is with us once again here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's always good to chat with you. Thank you for taking some time for us this morning.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Coach. Hey, take me through, Coach, if you could. I know that you guys have a quarterback competition going on right now. How difficult is it when you have someone that comes in and is your guy and has success like Nathan Kent has had, and you have belief in him, but you have the opportunity to get someone with some high-level experience. What is that like? Because does everyone understand? The guys just, hey, this is the way that football works. Teams always have to do what's best. Do you have to worry about guys' feelings? Like, what does that look like when you're a head coach?
Yeah, I think everything you just mentioned is part of the process. And what we said at the end of the 23 season was we need more competition in the quarterback room. And that was the whole thought process of bringing in a transfer and bringing in a freshman. So we brought in 2 quarterbacks into that room, even though we had a returning starter and we had our returning second and third string guy, but we just said we need more competition in the room. And, fortunately we found, a guy in Carlos Davis, who's not only a very good quarterback, but also a great guy. And then Winston Watkins, who is the freshman, also a very good quarterback and also a very good guy. So I think trying to read the temperament of the room, understand the personalities that are all involved, and then when you go out and find somebody that's going to come in and compete, and as everybody knows, it's not like wide receiver, not like DB. We're not playing 5-6 guys out there. We're going to play one quarterback, and those guys have both come in and done a great job just getting along with everybody, because I think they're really good people, but then also competing. And so the competition comes down to really Carlos and Nate, and I think we're pretty close to saying, hey, one of those 2 is going to be the starter moving forward.
I guess that answers my next question, which is going to be, we see sometimes where that can almost like linger into the season, and you try to get guys. You want to have one quarterback when you guys get to Cincinnati next Saturday.
Correct. Yeah, and we will.
So, Coach, once you have that quarterback, right, how does the offense on the whole take another step forward this season?
Yeah, we need to take another step forward. I mean, we got to be better at what we do. I think last year I felt like we left a lot on the table. I think when you look at the games that we played well, obviously that's the expectation, and the games that we played poorly, those are the disappointing times. So we have to take a step forward in every aspect of our offensive structure and our offensive productivity. We got to be better on third down. We got to score more points. We got to be able to throw the ball better. So I'm looking for us to make a huge stride this year in a lot of areas.
So, as you bring that up, there were a lot of good moments last year, right? Like, you were right in there. You beat some good football teams. You were right there with some other good football teams. In laying the foundation in your first year as coach, how happy were you? I know you want to win more games, but do you feel like, hey, if this is the floor, we created the culture that we want to create, we are moving in the right direction to take that proverbial next step this season?
Yeah, I think you go back to middle school and they say, hey, this will go on your permanent record. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you didn't know what that meant when they were saying that, And so when you're a coach, it's like, hey, every one of those is on my permanent record. So happy with the ones that we played well, and disappointed, like you say, in the ones that we did not play well. So you hit on it. I mean, the strides that we made, the grit that I think this team showed to be able to be down against William and Mary and then score 30-plus unanswered points and beat a ranked team, to be able to take a ranked team in New Hampshire to overtime and find a way to win. Those are the exciting components to what you want to build on. Now, to play poorly against a Monmouth when I felt like we had an opportunity, we were up 10 and didn't get done what we needed to not do much against the Norfolk State team, both offensively and defensively. You don't get an opportunity to get those games back. And so as we've been going through spring ball and summer workouts, that's really what we've been talking about. We got to be on point every time we go out there. We've got to be at our best to have an opportunity to win the games in those situations week in and week out. We proved that we could beat people. We just didn't prove we could beat people consistently.
He is Coach Pete Shinnick from Towson. He is with us here on GCR. Coach, whoever your quarterback is going to be, it sure seems like it's going to help them that they're going to be able to throw the ball to Carter Runyon this season.
Most definitely. Very excited about Carter and what he brings to the table. And, credit to Carter Runyon, really coming out of nowhere. He was a Division III tight end. Before that, he was an offensive lineman in high
Right.
school, weighing over 300 pounds, and extremely blessed to be able to get him to be a part of what we're doing. And he's one of the hardest working guys on our team, well deserving of everything that he's gotten from the postseason to the preseason accolades.
Did you know, Coach, or did it even catch you off guard? Were you even like, what is this kid doing?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, we saw what his natural raw talent was. That became evident early on. And, I kind of described him early on as just this eloquently awkward guy. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. Okay, he doesn't look like a wide receiver, but sometimes he runs like a wide receiver. He's been clocked over 20 miles an hour on our GPS system, so you could see it. And, it's just like, all right, if, you sit there as a coach and you look at all your guys and you go, man, if it ever clicks with this guy, he's got a huge upside. And it just clicked about game 4, and he took off.
Man, and obviously there's only even farther to go up from here, as he's been really impressive to this point. But it's not just him, right? Like, in general, you do bring back some really important pieces. I think the one that jumps out at me on the other side of the ball would be Deion Cruz-Harris, who came up big late in the season and really looks like he's ready for a true breakout this season.
Agree wholeheartedly, and I mean that's really what he has been able to do, really from spring ball all the way through fall camp in our preparation. He has separated himself as what we think can be a game changer on defense. We think he can be a dynamic playmaker. He's really doing a lot, getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, disrupting the run game, making it go at the level that we think we're capable of. So as we look at this, I'm really excited about Deion. And, with his playmaking ability, he's also been a fantastic leader and really taken great pride in all of the leadership aspects, of the defense as well as the team, holding guys accountable, putting the team first in all his actions, doing all the things that we love to see.
Coach, I know there's always whenever I ask a coach this question, I worry that they're going to want to name the entire team. So if I said it this way, if there were one or two other guys that maybe and you've watched them throughout the spring and now into the fall, wherever they are on the field, that you genuinely believe are ready to step up and become difference makers for this football team.
Yeah, and again, I think in being fair to a lot of people, I'll mention a couple guys. Devin Matthews on offense, I think, has done a fantastic job. Just continue. He carried the bulk of the load after, we got down really to 2 running backs last year. John Dunmore, who's a transfer wide receiver, has stepped up in a very big way. Ralph Page, our starting center, has really solidified things in the middle for us. Evan Rakowski at outside linebacker, very pleased with what he's doing, how he's doing it. And then Shafiq Smith at corner. I think really all those guys are playing at a very, very good and high level that will kind of separate themselves moving forward.
All right, I'm going to come back to this. So I realize that you're probably not going to announce for us which quarterback it is. So I'm going to ask you to tell us about both. Just specifically, if it ends up being Nathan, what does Nathan bring to the table? And if it ends up being Carlos, what does Carlos bring to the table?
Sure. No, and I think it's great because, in Nathan, you get a guy that started 11 games for us. You get a guy that has shown his capability in doing what, we need, and he's worked on the things that we've asked him to work on. So you get a competitor, you get a guy that, isn't going to be fazed with anything that he sees. Again, he, started against Maryland and, played top-ranked teams and found ways to play really well. In Carlos, you get a guy that started more games, a little more seasoned veteran. You get somebody who has seen a lot. You get somebody who has moved the chains and produced high-scoring offenses in his past. So there's a great feeling right now of, hey, we've got depth in that room like we wanted to have. That was the whole purpose of it.
All right, so I'm going to wrap with this, Coach. The thing that you didn't know, when we talked to you this year or this time last year, what's something you didn't know about the job that now, more than a year in, you've learned, you've grown because of just having more time here at Towson?
Sure. I think there's a couple things. And I mean, the first one is just the comfort level with how everything works at Towson. You know, you go into a game day and you've been doing it for 9 years at a previous place, and you've got certain things that take place and how it flows. So now I think a better understanding of our home game, our game day experience, and what all of that looks like. And then also a much greater understanding of each guy individually. You do the best you can in year one of trying to get to know personalities, trying to get to know guys' strengths and weaknesses, trying to put them in the best position possible. But now, year two, just have a much greater comprehension of the overall makeup, both mentally, physically, of every guy that we're dealing with. And, add to that, I think the grit of Towson football. I talked about it when I took the job, and then, have talked to a lot of alum through the years and just talking about, hey, there's a grit that goes with it. But just to see that firsthand, again, to win the games we won and, to finish the year beating Rhode Island, knocking them out of the playoffs, that just shows a tremendous amount of grit. We hadn't won a game at home, and to find a way to score with, 25 seconds to go just shows a great grit that I had hoped was there, but hadn't really experienced it and seen it. And now that I have, fired up about it.
Well, we're rooting for a few more home wins this season, Coach.
Amen. Most definitely. So are we.
They open on the road 1 week from Saturday. They're at Cincinnati. Then the home opener will be September 7th against Morgan State, that great battle for Greater Baltimore, at 6 o'clock at United Stadium, your first chance to see the Tigers at home. Coach Pete Shinnick, appreciate it. Looking forward to getting out there and seeing you this season. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us this morning.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate it.
Pete Shinnick, Towson football coach, with us here on GCR. Interesting. I mean, it's just an interesting spot to be in, right? Where you have a guy, and I appreciate him talking about that. Like, it's a tough thing to do, but you got to find guys that are bought in and they understand. Like, okay, nothing's handed to me. I got to go compete for it. Be interesting to see how that plays out. College football season does get underway tomorrow, but it's a dud. We talked about that the other day. Week 0, it's this thing that we want to be a thing. We so badly want Week 0 to be exciting.
It is a thing.
It's not.
Some good games.
There is one game.
Yeah, SMU Nevada.
No, SMU Nevada stinks.
You don't know that. Don't know that.
Terrible. There's really one game, and it's Georgia Tech, Florida State. Look, it'll just be nice to have football. Like, hi, Glenn Clark. We'll be watching. Will do. And there's going to be a college game day on tomorrow and the whole thing. But you get like all fired up about it, and then you're like, right, there's no meat on this bone. There's just a football game. And it's not even really that exciting of a football game. Although the betting people are all telling me that Georgia Tech should play it closer than you think that they're going to.
I disagree. I think I'm all over Florida State.
You should call Con right now.
Yeah.
You should call him.
Is he on? He's on Tech.
Just to cover, not to win. Just to cover. I think I heard Ben Hall might be on, or maybe he was on an under.
Going head to head with him.
I think he might be on an under. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Trying to think of what under would be in play tomorrow.
They
all set at every game is at 55.
Well, I was reminded this is the first year where the clock does not stop on first downs until the final 2 minutes. So that
interesting.
That will be something that we will have to get used to. During the rest of the game, it's not like teams are running up to the line.
But some teams just naturally.
Yeah, that's how fast.
Play.
That's how fast they go. So that might impact some of those games, like the old Big 12. Here's the other thing too. I was going to say the Big 12, but who's in the Big 12?
Teams.
The question is, does it impact some of the old Big 12 teams? I guess Baylor's still in the Big 12. Like, I would assume they would be one of those teams that might be impacted by that. Oklahoma State is still in the Big 12.
If Shedeur really wants a Heisman, he's going to have to.
Put
up some points.
There's almost no chance that that's happening.
Well, if he has an insane season, but they win 4 games,
it's not happening.
What if he
doesn't
throws
matter
for
how
5,000, runs for 2,000?
They win 4 games, then it's not happening. It's just not.
If he runs for 5,000
if he runs for 5,000,
but passes for 5,000,
I'm so sure that's going to
throws
happen.
40 passes.
It would require all of the good teams to not have good players.
It's possible.
Sure, we'll go with that. I'm trying to remember who because Baylor wasn't even bad, but they were not a national title contender the year that Robert Griffin III won the Heisman. I'm trying to think of how many times a Heisman winner has been from a team that wasn't even in the picture.
Rankings.
Not even, because I think Baylor was ranked. That's like the closest thing I can come up with. Baylor was not in the conversation late in that season. But they weren't awful. Like, I want to say they were something like 8-4, 9-3, something like that. They were just never really in contention to win a title. And yet, Robert Griffin III was able to win the Heisman. And that's the closest I can come up with. God, what year would that have been?
That would have been 10, 11? Yeah. It was 11. Yeah, because 12 was when RG3 and Luck went. Right?
That smells right. That smells. So, yeah, the Heisman finalists that year were Andrew Luck, Trent Richardson, Robert Griffin III, Monty Ball, and the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. And that Baylor 2001.
I think they were ranked top 15.
They might have been in the top 15, but they weren't. And they finished the regular season 9-3, and won their bowl game to get to 10-3. They played in the Alamo Bowl. The Heisman Trophy winner, the Heisman Trophy team was in the Alamo Bowl, which again doesn't mean that they stunk, and they played well down the stretch, and that's how Robert Griffin III got into the picture. They had lost 3 games in October. So by November, they were not in the conversation. But they beat Oklahoma, and they beat Texas, and he had huge games, and that was how he was able to kind of get back into it. But they were not relevant in the championship chase. Colorado, it would take a miracle for them to be relevant at all.
Well, beat Nebraska week, whatever that is, 1 or 2?
Yeah, week 1, I think.
Or is it North Dakota State? They go
they go to North Dakota. They got North Dakota.
They're going to North Dakota?
No, they're not.
Okay.
It's at home.
That'd be something.
I feel like at some point North Dakota State might be able to get some of those games.
A bye game, buy an FBS score.
Right? Like Delaware? You telling me Delaware you couldn't? Like, hey, man, come on out here, get your ass kicked. But we'll get you some money. You want to go D1? We'll help you out in that process. Or not D1's unfair. FBS. Like, why? I mean, Delaware can't compete with North Dakota State. They've had years to try to compete with North Dakota State.
Have they played?
I don't know if they played, but they haven't beaten the teams that gone and gotten thrashed by North Dakota State. Stop.
I'm trying to think.
You can't actually believe that Delaware could be competitive with North Dakota State right now. I mean, perhaps in the future Delaware will get to a place where they can, but at the moment they get thrashed. They get their asses handed to them. It's just that North Dakota State's not interested in going FBS, and Delaware was. That's the difference. Try to think of some of those. I think Jacksonville State would be able to compete with North Dakota
Jacksonville
State.
State was good last year.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe.
That was like they were one of those teams that wasn't going to get a bowl, but they should have because like that was their first season in FBS.
Okay. Well, but I don't know who they beat in order to do that. I didn't pay that much attention to Jacksonville State.
I'm trying to think. Well, okay, so because I know Towson played North Dakota State my senior year.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
Yeah, they lost 35.
Yes,
7.
Yes, correct. It didn't go well. I was there.
So quick football game.
Which
was nice.
You're right. It moved rapidly.
It was very nice. But yeah, Delaware didn't play it. Delaware did not play Towson that year, so I was trying to find a.
Oh, you were looking for a transitive property there?
30 to 30.
All right, let's get to the important stuff. You still not sent out a group text.
Oh.
What is going on?
Just
what's happening?
Forget to?
I'll
send it. I'll send it right now.
Are you okay?
I think.
I mean, do we need to have a? Is everybody in?
Yeah.
Who's everybody?
Oh, actually, sorry. Nick Kelly did not get back to me.
Let's go, Nick. Dr. Nick. Get on. Did you text? Did you email?
Yeah.
Both?
No, not both. I'll send it. I'll send a mass text.
Remember when you said yeah? Do you remember that part? Why couldn't you just give me the straight up answer the first? Why? What is it with The Conjuring? It's not just you. It's your entire generation. What is it with The Conjuring? Why can't there just be answers? Why can't we just say this is what's going on? Here's the deal.
I don't want to disappoint you, I guess.
No. It makes it worse. That's the part that I have to convey. It's so much worse. I mean, it's not good that you didn't do it, but like it'd be so much worse when there's The Conjuring involved. Have you gotten responses?
Yes.
But like about punishment.
Yeah. The Brazilian idea, like that sounds good.
But we haven't flushed it out. All we've got is the wax.
Okay.
We need more than that.
All right, so then I'll start a text. I'll start a text thread.
We might need a new commissioner of our picks league too.
I'm the commissioner?
Well, unfortunately,
what?
That's the default. You're
I
the
didn't
default.
know I was...
You're the default commissioner. You're not the cheer-tater, though. I continue to be the cheer-tater. It's not a cheermocracy. You're the commissioner, which falls under cheer-tater.
I didn't know I was commissioner.
There's grand high cheer-tater, then there's commissioner beneath that.
I mean, then
I don't want it to be Proctor because he's the crooked commissioner of our fantasy football league. And
KZ's not the commissioner of that?
No, that's a different fantasy football league.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Proctor and I have been in one league since we were like 6. I feel like, but yeah, might need to. I just feel like there's a lack of leadership at the top.
I didn't know I was the commissioner.
How many times have I said you've got to take care of this? I'm back to school now,
know.
man. I just don't. I gotta. Rodney Dangerfield. I'm doing triple indies. Like it's a whole thing. I don't have time. I need more time, as Lincoln Chafee, as Alec Baldwin, as Lincoln Chafee once said. Need more time. Where's the time? All right, so I need answers. I need suggestions. The Brazilian theme sounds good, but it can't just be the wax. There's got to be more to it. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the plan is. Also, where are you with getting the Irish dance lesson for Jeremy?
Need to reconvene with Jeremy. Yeah.
It sounds so. The answer is nowhere.
I guess, yeah. I guess that would be the answer.
You know what? You're going to have a day off. We're going to end up having to just give you like we got to get this stuff squared away. We have waited entirely too long.
Yeah.
And you can't just default to, well, Jeremy's going to fix it. Clearly not. We've got to take ownership of it. We've got to be the one to say, hey, this time, can you be here? Can you make it work? Have you looked up Irish dance folks?
Yeah, I have.
And have you gotten their contact information?
I have the contact
Have you reached out?
Not yet.
You need to be the one to do it.
Okay.
Once upon a time, I had to get a witch for Drew Forrester. Do you understand? I had to go into the dark magic. I had to track down an actual witch.
I'm trying to think. Because I took a summer class one time, and there was a girl that was into witching.
This person was a witch. They had certifications, the whole thing. A legitimate. We brought him in studio. We were trying to figure out how to get the Orioles to win a game on Sundays. Really, we should have been trying to get the Orioles to win a game.
We should probably do that.
It was a season
now,
where they were particularly bad. Like that year, they were something like 0-13 on Sundays, and we were like, what are we gonna do? So we debated whether we were going to do priest or witch, and we decided to go with witch. That was the direction that we went. It didn't help. But we tried, and I tracked down the witch, and I did all the work, and that's the way that it goes. It's part of the job. You got to handle finding the Irish dance. Now, once they find out it's for Jeremy Kahn, this should be fine. So we can trade. Even if it costs a little bit of money, I might be willing to front it. Just get the answers.
Mm-hmm.
We just need answers. Football season starts next week. We got to figure this thing out. And I do not sense the urgency in this. I sense more like maybe this will go away at some point. And it's just going to make your life more stressful because it's going to be like I'm going to set an alarm every day to harass you about it. So get the stress out of your life.
That should work.
Deal with it. Take care. Solve the problem today. It shouldn't have taken this long. What about Creed? What's going on with Creed?
They'll be in Baltimore.
Yeah, so you're
in
waiting
November.
for that one? You're not going to Hershey?
No.
I thought the plan was to go to Hershey.
No.
What happened to that?
Well, it didn't work out.
What do you mean it didn't work out?
I can't go.
Because
I have life.
What do you mean you have life?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to understand this is part of the show too.
I understand.
This is the last call. Like, you got to be fully committed to the Baltimore thing.
Yeah,
like,
I am.
They can ask you to come call an NFL game, and you got to be prepared to say no. Because there's no
Well, then
there's
I'll
no
just go
backup
to whatever the next
plan.
day. Well, if I'm calling an NFL game, then I should be able to go anywhere in the country to see Creed.
You got to understand this. Come back in. Talk to Mike Jones. I'm very concerned about the lack of umption. It's obviously gumption. I don't know why I said umption, but I'm going to go with it. It's umption. This is what happens when the Orioles stink, man. We're all on edge. Although it's got to light a fire a little bit. We got to get that going. I'm gonna have to give a Tim Walz speech. And I have to. We're on the 3-yard line, and we got to. I'm gonna do one of those pretty soon.
Is that what he said?
I don't know. You think I watched?
I don't know. You typically know politics.
Yeah, well, I'd like to be involved, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm going to sit there and watch the entirety of although way more pleasant than watching the baseball games.
It's true.
Between the one or the other.
Switched over to the preseason game a couple times.
Oh, God. Oh, that's sad.
Anthony Richardson, I think it's Joe Flacco's team.
They kept wanting me to draft Anthony Richardson earlier and earlier. I'm in a 14-team fantasy league for the first time this year.
Ooh.
So I did a mock 14-team draft. This is a mistake. I kept saying to myself, I can still get my tight end in the 5th round. No, you can't. All of a sudden, Brock Bowers is your tight end, babe. Not gonna work. Gonna have to be a bit more aggressive. The quarterbacks did stick around still, but the tight ends got to be a bit more aggressive there. CountySports.zone. It all gets underway this weekend. High school football games are being played, and scores will be reported. And all year long, everything you need to know about high school sports in the state of Maryland. Every score, every team, every region, every part of the state, every level, they've got it. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Mike Jones from The Athletic, who, don't act like you don't know the name, he wrote about one Zay Flowers. We're going to chat with him about that next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Frederick Keys baseball is back. With 30 more home games beginning on July 2nd, the Keys are excited to welcome you back to Nimio Field at Harry Grove Stadium. We want to see you there. Countless promotions will be on display every game, with it ranging from Tap House Tuesdays to Firework Fridays and everything in between. For more information or to buy tickets, call 301-815-9939 or visit frederickkeys.com today.
We've all experienced it before. The fantasy football draft from hell. Your buddy says you can do it at his house, but he never asks his wife. She's screaming at him the whole time and forces you guys to sit outside in the unforgiving heat. Then everyone brings the exact same store-bought 7-layer dip, and somehow you accidentally draft someone named LeVar Jackson because your brain can't function in these circumstances. Don't cop out and just move your draft online this year. Let Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel handle everything for you. Book your draft party, complete with your choice of all-you-can-eat entrees, drinks, and custom draft kits for the whole league, plus a custom trophy for your champion and a $75 gift card for the commish. Visit PressBoxOnline.com/social. That's PressBoxOnline.com/social, and never have a fantasy draft from hell again.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from DriveEasyMD.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at DriveEasyMD.com.
Hagerstown, Maryland, a snapshot of American history that dates back centuries. Today, the roots of the city expand with another historical moment, the grand opening of Meredith Park, Hagerstown's new event stadium and home to the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Experience the energy, culture, and adventure. Plan your getaway today at America's newest and most innovative ballpark. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their legendary fat, delicious, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. It's crab season, so sit back and crack some crabs while watching the Birds pursue another divisional title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday night, the Costas Inn offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30. So head on down to the Costas Inn today at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
There he is, Agent 00 Chicken. Nothing can keep him from Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Because right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box for just $8 with a portion of each sale donated to a local charity. Plus, register to win world-famous chicken for a year. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Escape to Ocean City, Maryland, and discover a place that just feels lighter, where every day feels like Saturday and French fries are a food group, where flip-flops are always in fashion and seafood is always in season, where the boardwalk is bustling And the beach is right outside your door, where you can rise with the tide and feel like a kid again. Ocean City, Maryland, somewhere to smile about. Book your trip at OCOcean.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Friday edition of GCR. Orioles, lost 6-0 last night. And play 3 more against the Astros this weekend. It's what it is, man. It's just what it is. I wish I could make it more pleasant. Today's show is also brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is available for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box. You can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. There was a small injury concern for Kyle Hamilton out at Ravens-Packers joint practice yesterday, but all's good. John Harbaugh said nothing to worry about. And a great cover story from Bo Smolka all about Kyle Hamilton in this print issue of Press Box. So go pick that up right now. All right, let's talk some Ravens in the moment. Joining us, one of our friends from The Athletic. And the reason why I got to live out a dream a few years ago and chat with rapper Mike Jones is because of this man. He is, of course, from The Athletic. NFL writer Mike Jones, and he's back with us now here on GCR. Mike, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's always good to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Glenn.
Absolutely, Mike. So for those that don't know, Mike wrote this week about Zay Flowers for The Athletic. Mike, I want to pose it this way to you if I could. Mm-hmm. Is Zay Flowers a star wide receiver, or is he the best of what the Ravens have, and that's good enough?
I think we're going to find out this year. Right now, it very well could be that he is the best of what the Ravens have. Now, is that good enough? I don't know. Mm-hmm. We need to see them finally get over the hump. I think he can be. I mean, we saw in that playoff game, look, he put up a lot of yards, made some great catches. What would the narrative have been if he hadn't have fumbled as he's diving, trying to stretch to get to the end zone right there?
Sure.
How would things played out? They lost by a touchdown, right? So you never know. So I do think that he has the capability, and I think that there also will be a little more of an effort to try to – he talked about wanting to stretch the field. And I think they made an effort to get the ball in his hands last year. I think we're going to see some more creativity this year. So I think that he can be. It's just a matter of will he? Will he put it all together? The potential's there. Are they going to use him in the effective way? Obviously, he's got a connection with Lamar. But, yeah, we need to see him be able to get over the hump. And the only way you know if somebody's a star or not is what they do in those clutch moments.
There's a couple of elements to that. You obviously wrote about that connection with Lamar in the piece, and that was obvious early. But I think a lot of us came away this offseason saying, hey, maybe the Ravens have something here, but it still seems like they could use that prototype type of wide receiver, right? And they didn't go out and get that guy this offseason. And maybe it's fair to say they think they might have that in their tight end room, and that's the reason why they didn't need to do it. But as much as we say, hey, it's better than what they've done at sometimes, that's really about there being such a low bar. I still think, and you alluded to it, it's a fair question to ask, have they done everything they needed to do to really make Lamar Jackson give him the best chance to be that guy, or do they really just sort of want to default to playing Ravens football, and that's the reason they prioritized running back again this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see, and I'm very curious, once the roster cuts, all the roster cuts got to be made by Tuesday. There's going to be some veterans that aren't going to make their teams. Are the Ravens going to call around and try to pull off a trade, give a late-round pick for somebody, or are they going to wait to see who's cut and pick somebody up? I mean, I really think that, like Robert Woods down in Houston, from what I hear, he's not going to make that team. They've got a lot of young guys there, but I think that he would be a good guy to go with this wide receiver group. He's a consummate professional. He moves the chains. He's a bigger target. And then you add what they have, I think that would be a good fit. So if we're talking about this, I have to believe that they're looking out there and thinking, okay, yeah, we've got some good young pieces here, and we've got a great tight end, and we've got a promising young wide receiver here in Flowers, but can we help ourselves further? They have to. And if they don't, it'll be disappointing, just because I feel like they need that other dimension of another guy, a third guy to give Lamar that would be a consistent threat that can win some one-on-one matchups, because it's all about winning matchups in the NFL.
He is Mike Jones of The Athletic. He's with us here on GCR. Boy, I had to go back and look at Bobby Tree's numbers the last couple of years, because when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, Robert Woods. And I get it. Like, the production recently does suggest that he's not a guy that demands being on your roster, but it's easy to say that when you've got Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Tank Dell, and that's not the situation here in Baltimore
Right.
for sure. I feel like, and it's obviously the story you wrote was about Zay Flowers, Mike, but I feel like the conversation has so much to do with like the Ravens trying to figure out if they can get a definitive answer on Rashad Bateman this season. And it's the damnedest thing for me, because I don't think that Rashad Bateman has been a part of the problem. I think he's been someone that's been capable of being part of the solution. He runs good routes. He gets open. That connection just that we talked about just hasn't been there. I don't know at what point you just sort of say, hey, it's not happening and it can't be forced, but it really does still feel like the Ravens are trying to give their one more shot at figuring out if that can happen with Rashad Bateman, given the way that they had drafted him a couple of years ago.
No, you're right. And I do think that, look, it would be great for them if that pans out there, because we've seen some flashes, but yeah, for whatever reason, it hasn't totally clicked, and he has not lived up to those expectations. They've had a hard time finding a wide receiver that can fit well with what they want to do and into this offense. And Lamar has never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver that he's had to work with, been able to work with. And so, obviously we saw last year that, Tom Monken is, willing to throw the ball more and have more of a pro-style passing attack than what Greg Roman did, but you have to have the pieces. And, Ken Bateman, now a second year in this offense, can he figure it out? Because it does take young wide receivers some time, but the clock is ticking. And, if it's not going to be him, they need to get another veteran in here, and not somebody that's, completely washed up, but somebody that can be serviceable to just help complement what they have.
And if we're being fair, I think a lot of us thought that Nelson Aguilar was washed up, and he was serviceable, clearly, in Baltimore. He met that bar. If I could, Mike, just to expand this conversation about the Ravens, we're in a weird spot leading up into this season where, yeah, we're interested in what the offensive line looks like, but everything about the Baltimore Ravens in 24 comes down to, can you finally get over the hump, right? Like, that's really what this all comes down to. Is there a world where you believe that the presence of Derrick Henry could ultimately prove to be the difference, as long as nothing goes dramatically wrong health-wise, and they are in the mix and they are in the postseason as we would all expect them to be? Is it possible that knowing that they weren't committed to the run in the, and I hate talking about it, from the AFC Championship game, that just the presence of Derrick Henry could be enough to make the difference for them to finally be able to get past Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
I think so, because I really think they could have won that game last year if they had stuck to their game plan. It was like they got to the AFC Championship game and they tried to throw a change up when it's like, that's not who you are. Go with what got you here. So if Derrick Henry is still the same guy, look, he's got a lot of mileage on him, but if he is still the same guy, and I do think that being in the backfield with Lamar will also help him, because in Tennessee, teams knew, let's load up the box. There's only one guy on this team that can really stop, that we have to worry about stopping, and that was Derrick Henry. So now you have to account for Andrews, and you got to maybe account for Flowers, and obviously you got to account for Lamar and his running ability. So you're not going to be able to key on Derrick Henry as much as what he was keyed on and still was effective in Tennessee. So if you can still have that 1,200, 1,300 yards from him, and you have this offense that's humming in the run game and that opens up the play-action passing attack, and like I said, teams have to worry about it, I think they can get over them, because they were that close and, fell just narrowly short against the Chiefs. And now, obviously, they've had some changes on defense.
Yep.
We'll see how that all comes together. But I think that they should, on paper, they should be able to get over it. It's just a matter of, okay, what's the game plan going to be and what's the execution going to be like once you're in that moment.
You would like to assume that you're not going to forget that Derrick Henry exists. You would like to think that there's not going to be. It's like, oh right, we have Henry. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I would like to think that's going to be the case. Mike, just because you're out there, give me your maybe team that we're giving too much credit to going into the season that you still have questions about, and or the team that somehow still isn't getting enough credit and deserves a little bit more love going into the year?
I think we're giving the 49ers too much credit. I think that, look, that Super Bowl hangover is real. And they seem like they've got a good, stable core. But, look, they have the Brandon Ayuk thing still hanging over. They've got Trent Williams still not clearly taken care of. He's not, not there. Is this thing is it gonna be a little bit of a wobble? As we've seen teams, the team that loses in the Super Bowl, they have a hard time making it back to the playoffs, let alone just getting back to the Super Bowl. And so I think that maybe, to think that they're just going to get right back there might be a little bit, maybe they're getting too much credit. Team that's not getting enough credit. I'm very curious about the Tennessee Titans.
You're the second.
What they're gonna do.
You're the second person to bring that up to me, and I am befuddled betwixt. How are there enough spots in the AFC for the Titans to be good too?
Well, I mean, look, okay, their division that they're in, Houston. We don't know if they're going to, continue to build or if they falter a little bit. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are a team that they are not. It feels like they can't get to their potential. Trevor Lawrence, and the team as a whole. And you look at what the Titans did this offseason, the last two off seasons, really, they've worked on upgrading their depth in the core of the team, but then they've been aggressive. Some of the swings, Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, so this roster, they've put a lot around. If they have DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley as the wide receivers for Will Levis, and you can still run the football well with Tony Pollard. It's going to be a different style of running. But this is a team, and they've got some big boys up front along their offensive line, along their defensive line. It's a team that could maybe, sneak up on some people and be a factor.
@by Mike Jones, of course, is how you follow him on Twitter and The Athletic to see all of his stuff. We've linked up his Zay Flowers story on our Twitter account @GlennClarkRadio for you to check it out there. Mike, is there anything else we can plug for you, man?
Let's see. We just did our top 25 players, 25 or under that I just did that came out last week. And then I'm going to have my 24 most intriguing players of the 2024 season coming out next week.
I will look for. I'm going to go read. I somehow missed the 25 players and under. I'm going to go check that out right now. Mike Jones, appreciate you, man. Thank you as always taking the time for us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'll see you soon.
It's Mike Jones. I can't believe we're getting out here selling me on the Titans. And I get it because I like Calvin Ridley, and I still feel like that there's something there. And I like it's DeAndre Hopkins, and I wanted him in Baltimore. And I just feel like there's too many teams in the AFC for there to be room for the Titans to be good too. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. You want to do Twib now? You want to get into it? All right.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, let's do it.
We will do it right.
This week
in the rest of
baseball.
This week in the rest of baseball is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. If you're now thinking about taking a flyer on Will Levis after you heard, host your fantasy draft at Live Casino and Hotel Inside Sports and Social. You got to stop putting yourself through the stress of trying to prepare it. I can't even get our picks league. We don't even have a draft, and I'm struggling to launch it. I can only imagine how difficult it is for you as you try to launch your fantasy league. So just stop fighting about it. Stop worrying about who's bringing what. Stop worrying about whether you have enough room for everybody to sit in somebody's living room. Stop it. Stop it. Trying too hard. Just right now, make the decision. We're hosting the Draft Inside Sports and Social. We're going to do it next weekend so we can hang out, watch all the games on the 100-foot media wall. What we're going to do is we're going to get our choice of all-you-can-eat entrees, plus drinks, plus the draft kits, and the trophy for the winner of the league. And then you, the commissioner, you get to pocket a $75 gift card, but you don't need to tell anybody that. That can just be our little secret between you and me, right? Maybe a tip for Dad. Just a thought. Maybe you say, hey, I'll buy you a beer, something like that. I don't drink, so don't do that, but you know what I mean. Go right now to PressBoxOnline.com/social. That's PressBoxOnline.com/social. You got questions, you want to figure out how it all works, go right now. They'll get you hooked up. Host your fantasy draft inside Sports and Social, live casino and hotel Maryland. What you got?
Let's start. It feels like the biggest news of the week keeps happening like the day before, so that kind of works out, I guess, for Twib. Scott Service has been relieved of his duties as the Mariners manager.
For a minute, it looked like the Mariners after the deadline were going to be a thing again, right?
Yeah.
You sort of convinced yourself, oh, they did what they needed to do. They had that vibes shift. It was like switching from Biden to Harris, right?
Throwing a Randy Arozarena, just getting a change of scenery for him, and it their pitching hasn't been. I mean, their pitching's still very good, but it hasn't been as good. Their pitching needed to continue to not allow one or fewer runs every outing, and they started letting up 3 runs, and it was so
it's a weird thing to fire someone via social media that's been around for a decade. That don't seem great. I don't have a strong take about it. The Mariners clearly feel like you do that. This is different than the White Sox, where we're all like, dude, why fire him? Just what is another manager going to do? The Mariners still think there's enough time that maybe this can be the wake-up call for that team to get a push before the season is over. And maybe, how many games out of a playoff spot are they?
I think they're at least 5 behind Houston now for the division. Well, I don't know what the wild card is.
All right, let's go. Let's get answers.
I'll get answers.
We have the internet. I have it right in front of me.
There's 5.5 behind Houston.
And there's 7.5 games back of a wild card spot. So, yeah, the division really seems like the only thing that's in play for them. Welp. I mean, not much else to say. They still feel like they have one more chance before the season's over, so that's why they fire their manager. The White Sox thing still doesn't make you're going to stink.
They did also bring Edgar Martinez back, hitting coach.
Okay.
So that'll turn around too.
Sure.
Well, what if it does?
What if it does?
It's not nothing, maybe.
What do you want me to say here?
I don't know. Is it?
I got nothing for it.
Yeah, we were pretty confident we could say that the Rogers-Norby Stowers trade jury's out until, on Monday, because Norby got called up earlier in the week.
So one of them is in the major leagues. Yes. The other one is not.
Until so Monday, this is what happened.
Well, what happened?
Zone with this much accuracy. 1-1 is dunked into right center field. Nobody's going to get there. It's going to fall for a base hit. Rounding third is Norby. No throw towards the plate. Stowers drives in his buddy, and it's 5-4.
Well, how about that?
You love to see it.
Connor Norby had 2 doubles in the game this week too, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, they've both been. They've both been playing better since they both have arrived on the team together. So
look, man,
good for them.
I think Connor Norby's a hitter. I think he's going to hit. And that was a real, that's, again, I understand that he didn't seem to have a path in Baltimore. I get it. But it just felt like you could do better. And it's tough because even some of the bullpen arms that were dealt. Would the Athletics have wanted Connor Norby in exchange for Urseg? Probably not, right? He's older. He's a Major League ready prospect. The Oakland Athletics are not Major League ready. Could you have used Connor Norby as part of a package, try to help you get Estevez from the Angels? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough spot. I was having this out. My guy, my foil, Rob Shields, and I were going back and forth about it. It's a tough spot I didn't have a problem with trading Norby. I had a problem with acquiring Trevor Rogers. That part didn't make sense. What else?
Where do I want to go next? Joey Votto did announce, we covered it briefly yesterday, but yes, Joey Votto announced his retirement via social media. He had a great tweet. He was like, he got an Uber, and the Uber driver was like, "Are you a professional baseball player?" And he was like, "No." He's not, because he's retired. How long until we see him on TV?
Well, that's what everybody's talking about. Like,
Yeah.
he's such a natural personality-wise that, like, Fox would be stupid to not try to get him for the postseason. And, like, as much as David Ortiz is a personality, Derek Jeter is, like, just dry as F. I get he's a commodity, right? Like, he's one of the few people in modern baseball history that have pop culture cachet. So they're probably not going to get they're certainly not going to get rid of him or A-Rod. Like,
just because they go past baseball.
Yeah, they have pop culture relevancy. Who knows? Maybe A-Rod will end up back with Jennifer Lopez now that she's back on the market. Real shame.
Who her and Affleck?
Yeah, her and Affleck, they're done again. Dunsky again.
Terrible. So
I'm
that means
starting
we're
to
gonna get a good movie from Ben soon?
I'm starting to think love is dead. There is no such thing. Those crazy kids can't make it twice. What are we doing? That's the bummer, is that, like, there doesn't seem to be room for Joey Votto with Fox, but from a personality standpoint, he would add a lot. I don't even know who's involved with ESPN's baseball coverage anymore. Like, I know they've got Sunday Night Baseball, and it's Eduardo Perez and David Cohn, but, like, that's just for Sunday nights, right? Like,
Ben McDonald did a game a couple weeks ago. Because every now and then they do, like, that Monday or Wednesday or something.
I don't remember how much of the playoffs. ESPN only has the wild card, right?
That's the way it was last year, yeah.
So they wouldn't really need, like, a studio show for that. And TBS's studio show is Jimmy Rollins and Pedro, right, is who they've got?
That's for TBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been doing, I mean, who knows, maybe they throw, because last year they did those, like, alt casts for a lot of the games.
Yeah, I'm never going to watch one of those, so I don't care about that.
They're pretty good when your team's not playing.
Maybe there's room for Joey Votto on one of those. I don't know, but Joey Votto, obviously a hell of a baseball player and a fun personality. I think so.
His numbers, because everyone was comparing him to, like, Todd Helton.
Really?
His numbers were better, like, not crazy better, but, like, his WAR was slightly higher.
And he doesn't have to deal with the Colorado thing being what people say, but his numbers are only good because he was in Colorado. Like, he doesn't have to, that doesn't hang over him.
And obviously was an on-base machine.
Like, it always seemed to me like Joey Votto, like, I was watching a Hall of Famer when I was watching Joey Votto.
Like, perennially in the, top 5 MVP conversation. So Joey Votto retires. Good stat from OptaStats.
And if it's not first year, it'll be very quick. If you want to say there's a difference between Joey Votto and God, I can't believe I'm doing this. Why am I going down this path? Like, you want to say there's a difference between Joey Votto and Mike Trout? Like, okay, probably. Although Mike Trout, I don't know how. It's gonna be interesting how we talk about Mike Trout in a few years. That'll be an interesting conversation. Like, if you want to say he wasn't the greatest player of a generation, you're right.
Is it gonna be, like, similar to Griffey?
Griffey was a game changer, man.
Griffey was
an icon. It's not that. But Joey Votto to me is a first ballot.
Just with the injury, like, that's the only correlation I guess I'm seeing. So good stat from OptaStats. The National League West, obviously you mentioned earlier in the week, has been insane since the All-Star break. They are a combined 40 games over 500. The division as a whole is 94-54.
That's nuts, man.
Since the All-Star break, no other division even has a winning record over that span since the All-Star break. Wow. So crazy. Manny hit another big home run.
Just a reminder, the Orioles go to L.A. next week.
I think we can all just be Padre fans now. Is that
what it is?
Okay.
No, we're not
Manny hit a big
season,
No, I'm giving up.
Stop it.
If it's not Jackson Merrill,
who was he hugging this week? Who was he? I saw Eric showed out like a former Orioles infielders love each other.
Manny was hugging somebody.
There was a picture of him hugging somebody. Go to Eric's Twitter and you'll find it there.
Yeah,
well, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
We're already running out of time.
Yeah.
What else?
Paul Skeens, they've been discussing shutting him down, or I don't know if there's gonna be a full shutdown, but that's it's kind of everyone's like, well, why you can't It's like you can avoid this. Let's see if the Pirates were to just pay him, you could probably avoid this, and then you don't have to worry about his arm getting hurt. Everyone's because I think he's about hit the number that he was at last year at this point. And there's a lot of discussion of are big league how different are the big league innings versus the college innings, because it is kind of like in college more can you say there were bigger games for him pitching for LSU, pitching in the College World Series versus obviously big leagues. You're going against big league hitters.
It was Jose Iglesias, who obviously he wasn't even teammates with in Baltimore, so I don't.
They were hugging?
Yeah, I don't know what their relationship is.
Interesting. Yeah. Ernie Clement hit a high pitch yesterday as well. I just wanted to it was a pitch that was 4.6 feet off the ground.
Yikes.
Second highest pitch hit for a home run in the pitch tracking era. So since 2008. The only person to hit one higher, 4.61 feet off the ground, Kyle Higashioka, 2 years ago in 2022.
Well, how about that?
He's hit Ernie
Meanwhile,
Clement.
Vladimir Guerrero hit balls that were negative 4.6. They were actually under the ground.
They bounced and then
somehow you were like, did he go through the earth
out?
to get that?
He has 2 home runs on pitches 4 or more feet above the ground this year.
It's kind of remarkable.
Yeah, tied for the most ever in a season.
Maybe
in this.
You should notice that on the scouting report at some point.
But yeah, that is what I got for you this week in the rest of baseball.
Very good. Then we come back in. I have a bone to pick. Ken Weinman, allegedly, he and one of his partners were disparaging athletes.
Tim?
Not Tim.
That's right. Tim was.
They were disparaging high-level championship caliber athletes on their show this week. And that might fly with some people. Some people might be okay with that. But some of us need to be the ones to step up and say, no, Mr. Bully Pulpit. You think you got a microphone in front of you that makes you the tough guy? No. That's not the way it's going to work around here. And so I am willing to step up and be the one. And he and I will deal with it next, right here on GCR.
Experience the thrill of the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fair Hill, presented by Brown Advisory, coming October 17th to the 20th. See the world's best equestrians compete in the sport of eventing, the ultimate test of horse and rider. Enjoy a weekend festival featuring locally sourced food at the Fresh Food Fest, a beer, wine, and spirits showcase, shopping, and fun for all ages. Check out the Maryland Corgi Cup, interactive kids corner, and more. It's the place to be in October. Visit maryland5star.us for tickets.
Treat yourself and taste the Baltimore tradition that is the legendary Costas Inn. Hey, it's Stan the Fan Charles. For over 50 years, the Costas Inn has been a Baltimore original, dishing out their legendary fat, delicious, award-winning crab cakes and steamed crabs. It's crab season, so sit back and crack some crabs while watching the Birds pursue another divisional title on Costas' 15 TVs. On Monday night, the Costas Inn offers their half-pound jumbo lump crab cake with 2 sides for under $30. So head on down to the Costas Inn today at 4100 North Point Boulevard or visit them at CostasInn.com.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
There he is, Agent 00 Chicken. Nothing can keep him from Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Because right now, he can get a 3-piece world-famous chicken box for just $8 with a portion of each sale donated to a local charity. Plus, register to win world-famous chicken for a year. Come to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. It's a real thriller, but it's only for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Bo Smolka profiles Ravens star safety Kyle Hamilton, detailing his path from growing up the son of a basketball player to choosing football, being overlooked in the draft, and turning into a defensive unicorn as a playmaking Swiss Army knife in the NFL. Also inside, meet college football players from all of the area's D1 programs and some of the area's college soccer standouts as well. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, let's see if any of these have been fruitful. Let's see if there's anything that's, let's see. Oh, you can eat Brazilian. That's not a punishment. I give up. John, KZ, I love you. The Brazilian steakhouse is one of the truly great. It's That's the concept is it is an all-you-can-eat place. We need actual punishment ideas. If you're not in the league but you have a punishment idea, tell us. We need real punishment ideas because clearly a group of 10 people. That's what we do every year. God, it always happens this way. Need some ideas for our Picks League punishment this year. I'm okay with it being Brazilian themed, but it's got to be more than just the wax. There's got to be
Did you
more
see the thing
to
I
it.
just sent?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Neither do I, but it's Brazilian.
I can't even tell if I think it looks awful or not. I don't know what's in it.
Couscous palista. It's cornmeal, olives, and sardines, and then among other gross things.
All right, I'm out. You know what? You're right. That's gross. If Tim from Bel Air is willing to make it, it can be part of the punishment. But you got to talk to him about that. He was all in on these other things. You got to talk to him about whether or not he's willing to make this. All right, I got some things I got to deal with. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. And the reason why I'm surprised, his cohort, I don't know anything about his athletic achievements, but I happen to know that our next guest, he's a champion. He was a basketball champion at Camp Skylamar. And so I am surprised that this man was disparaging high-level athletes on his radio program this week. And you know, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one to stand up for it. What's next? Are you going to say Steph Curry's not all that great? Sure, he hit some threes, but he's not even that great of a dunker. I don't know what's next from this man. Ken Weinman from 105.7 The Fan and Inside Access every afternoon. Ken, I just got to be honest with you. Knowing the athlete that you are, I'm surprised, and I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
By the way, Steph Curry's good and all, but can he rock the wristwatch like I did in that Skylamar picture that you referenced?
That's a great point.
He cannot ball like I did with a watch on. So
I mean, what's next? You're going to say Aaron Judge isn't that great of a home run hitter, really? I mean, how many athletes do you intend to disparage this week, Ken?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I feel my whole life that I'm a Caucasian male, but I also feel like, and I need to go one of these years, but I get a different perspective from Tim and from Rita of the hijinks that go on at this thing. And what we've sort of come to terms with is this is sort of a white guy Olympics that happens at your house every year. And the pig is sort of the side item. It's more about the hijinks that occur with horse lube and sliding and body rashes and things of that nature.
I think it's a little bit of all of it, Ken. I don't know that anything has to be the standout moment of it. I think there can be a little bit of everything. But again, when we say the white guy Olympics, it sounds like it's being, exclusionary. Like I do think.
And by the way, I do need to apologize. The picture you posted, if that is not an athlete,
yeah,
then I don't know.
That's
what
an
is.
athlete at the peak of his prowess, and I think that we need to accept that. That's what an athlete looks like, and I deal with it, I believe, is the way that I would say it. Look, man, I don't make the rules. I do happen to know that the whites over the years we've seemed to have an advantage in the frisbee sports. I don't know why that is. I don't know what that's related to, but yes, it does seem like very much like we've got it's like ice hockey and frisbee sports. Like that's what we have going for us. The whites we're not as great at most other things. Like most other things.
And then I'm double there because I'm white and I'm Jewish. And you can fill maybe one page of athletic greatness.
Well, okay, but how are I don't know because I'm not part of the tribe. How is the tribe with frisbee related sports? Like, did Jews have ultimate frisbee teams? Do they have, like
I don't remember if they do the Maccabee game frisbee.
Okay, right.
But
was there frisbee golf at Camp Skylamar?
There was not. There was regular golf. Regular golf at Camp Skylamar. I don't think I picked up a frisbee, and then so. Back then, we went for 7 weeks. So I'm thinking 6 summers, 7 weeks. I did not pick up a frisbee.
See, this is where, if I were you, I would have anger towards the folks at Camp Skylamar because they didn't really prepare you for all of the paths that life.
For your nonsense.
That's what I'm. No, wait. Now you use words like nonsense, and that's where we go right back into like disparaging. Look, you can be great in whatever you want to be great in, right? Like some people are great at cornhole, for example, right? Like there's a whole professional tour for that. I don't knock them. I don't say, well, this is nonsense. I say, good on you. That's how you make your living. God bless. I wish my guidance counselor maybe would have told me that was an option, right? Like I wish we could go back and look over that. It's where you and your partner start disparaging
not my life partner, but my co-host.
No, not Margie. She seems lovely. I'm saying your radio partner.
She's a saint.
And it's not Tim, right? Tim is
Tim participates.
Yes, he's an athlete. And this is the other thing too. It'd be one thing if you were only disparaging Can Jam, right? Like that's but
I don't even know what Can Jam is.
It's a truly important sport. But it's not just Can Jam. It's also Slip Cup, another game created by our forefathers, passed down through the generations. Ken, I'm not sure if you've seen, but a kayak cross was an Olympic sport this year. And if you want to tell me for even a second that sport makes more sense than Slip Cup does, you're going to fall on deaf ears. We're just waiting for our...
Breakdancing was an Olympic sport,
too. You think that I'm less of an athlete than Rachel Raygun Gunn, Ken? Is that what you think?
I think if you start disparaging Ray Gun, we're going to have a problem.
Oh, now wait a second. You're standing up for that and won't stand up for the greatness of Slip Cup? And do you know what this sounds like? It sounds so typical of you radio jock types. It sounds like you don't understand it. It's too complicated. Yeah. I can't pronounce this name, so I can't. That's what it is. It's too much for you.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where's the horse loop fit in?
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked. So the horse loop is important. Thank you. You are. It's a great point because I heard you say this to Rita. You are a journalist, so I am glad. I am glad that you're willing to ask the question.
Pulitzers.
The importance here is that when you go down the slip and slide to play Slip Cup, you want to gather as much speed as you possibly can. Now, I don't know if at other levels of competition they've banned foreign substances. That's possible, right? Like we used to have used to have the sticky stuff in baseball, and then they had to get rid of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the International Slip Cup Federation has banned such substances there. But in our level of competition, no, we encourage. So our friend...
Wouldn't this be considered a performance enhancing substance?
I understand that, but it's much like baseball in the 1990s. Everyone was using, so there's really the playing field remained level. You know what I mean? Like everybody can say, hey, like nobody was all that better because they were all doing.
Manny Alexander was using
100%. It didn't help him hit 60 home runs. Now did it? Like, that's just the way that... By the way, we should probably use the word allegedly in here somewhere. I'll make sure that...
allegedly,
I say that because I'm pretty sure there are still rules. I don't know what they are. We're on the internet.
I think he was in the Mitchell report.
All right, then we're good. Then we're good. It's all covered.
Yeah.
And yet he didn't make the Hall of Fame like David Ortiz did. That's really weird how that worked out.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's crazy how that went. But you understand the point, Ken. The point being, if everyone's on the same playing field, if everyone uses it, you can't really call it a performance enhancer. It's really at that point like you're just doing it because you want to make it more entertaining. You're there. It's like Sammy Sosa using the cork bat in batting practice, right? Like you're doing it for the fans. You're doing it for the people that want the entertainment value, right? They pay their hard-earned money to come out and watch you perform, and you want to put on a show for them, Ken. And it's guys like you. It's haters like you in the media. You know what? Maybe the former president was right. You are fake news. Maybe that's what this is.
Hey, I think you've sold me when you explained it that way. For the people, like you're doing it not for yourself, but for the love of the sport and for the public.
Did you see Aaron in Westminster? Aaron Manfra, Fred's nephew. He said, you never. He comes out just to watch. He likes to watch. Wait a second. Maybe hang on.
Yeah, well, Rita does that too, right?
Yeah, Rita comes out every year just to watch. Rita loves to watch. A lot of people come out and just get their enjoyment. Not for so far. I haven't been able to. How white of a game can it be if Griffin won't participate in it? How white could it? You've met him. You know him. That is the definition of a white man. He is. He checks all the boxes, and I have not been able to get him to participate.
He's not as pale as I, though.
Well, okay, that might be true, but hang on a second. That's like saying it's sort of like saying, can you get past the bar of Trevor Rogers as a pitcher? That's a low bar. That is a really low bar that we're talking about here, buddy. So I
also feel like I'd be really bad at all of these games because I'm old and I'm stiff, and quite frankly, I'm in not the peak physical condition that say I was.
Right. I would say that these games are great equalizers in that way. Really not a lot of athleticism necessary. It's very specific skills.
Not what the pictures tell.
Well,
pictures
I
tell
understand.
A different story.
You look at me and you just see, again, a peak truly years upon years of training that's been put into getting to this point. But not everyone's like me, Ken. You got to understand. There's others that aren't quite as. You think Tim is going on the Pro Tour? You think that's next for him, really?
He's a YOLO guy. He's doing that when he's not participating in your horse lube sport.
It's an awful lot of fun. I don't know why you haven't prioritized making it out yet. It's a great time, and ultimately, it also involves 150 pounds worth of pig that I'm trying to.
Do you have anything for people that don't eat pig?
But are you not a pig eater? Are you a non-pork?
So it's funny. I like sausage. I like pepperoni. I don't like ham.
Really?
Yes.
Do you? Wow. This is kind of blowing my mind. Well, yes, we have plenty of things. We grill all day. It's a party, man. It's just a day-long celebration. This is really what this is. As an adult, when I was a younger man, it was an opportunity for debauchery, and there was lots of it.
Sounds like it still is.
Well, no, it's just silliness now. It's not debauchery. I mean, there were things that occurred at these events that, I'll save that for the pay-per-view channel. No, now it's a nice family-friendly event. It's an opportunity to network, to meet people. You know what happened this year? This is a straight shoot. I throw this pig roast every year. A couple came to this pig roast. They are now married with a kid. They separately came one year and met each other at my pig roast, and they fell in love and got married. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And then this year, Rashawn and Trippy were there.
That's true. Rashawn and Trippy. Now, they did not participate in Slip Cup.
Yeah,
well, however,
I could have predicted that.
Wait. To knock your argument about it being a white sport, Rashawn said if he had known, he would have participated. Wow. So
that's called being nice.
No. He's mad. He's mad that he wasn't able to participate, and he is in for next year. So
I might have to come see that. Is Rita in for next year?
No, not a chance. I've been trying for a long time. There's no chance in hell that Rita will do it. I will say also knocking the singular MVP of all of the years that I have hosted Slip Cup, There is no one that has dominated the sport more than former NFL defensive lineman and WWE wrestler AJ Francis. My buddy AJ.
Wow.
It was embarrassing to all of the whatever team got. It was like we had to kick him out. We had to say, I'm going to stop scheduling the pig roast for a weekend that you can come back to town, because he would just embarrass all of us. He was 320 pounds. He got down the slip and slide in like 10 seconds, and then he had the agility to like hop up elegantly, great, very mindful, very demure, the whole thing at the end to get up and then go pound the beer. Yeah, it really made.
Did somebody take out a table today?
That happened. Weekend? Yes, there was a table. Again, you're going to second guess these athletes. Someone crashed into a table, got back up, pounded a beer, and flipped a cup. James McCann thought that was tough. Said that guy, that guy Duncan, he's got something in him. That's what happened, and here you are.
That's impressive.
You're talking You're talking chit on your radio show because you can't do it. You're a watcher. You can't do it. And
I'm a voyeur.
You're a voyeur. Just come out one of these years, would you? Just come out.
I think I might have to come out. I think this year we had plans, but next year I think I might have to come out for this.
I want to do that. All of this is better than talking about the Orioles right now. That's all.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you heard Rob.
They can't hit. They can't pitch.
They can't do anything.
Field. Other than that, it's great.
Rob and Jeremy had me on for 2 segments this morning to talk about the old radio station, because that's how much we don't want to talk about the Orioles right now.
Man.
It's tough, bro.
Hey, remember when Corbin Burns was a Cy Young pitcher?
Do I remember it? Oh, what a time that was. We all had the opportunity. We did like a preseason bet thing where we all had the chance at the midway point to get out of our Corbin Burns for Cy Young pick, and we all still said no. We have so much faith in this man.
And then August happened.
Oh God, it ain't great, man. You know it's tougher too, and we were talking about this morning, Ken. The tough part is that like you also can't declare the season dead yet. Like you're just stuck in you're stuck in purgatory right now, where nobody really there is a series at home against the Astros. This city should have life this weekend, right? Like this city should be bonkers this weekend. But nobody even wants to talk about the baseball team at the moment.
The Oriole fans are as interested as Corbin Burns is when there's a runner on first base.
Which is somehow still more interesting than Craig Kimbrell is.
How did we get the 2 pitchers that seem to be the least interested in holding base runners in all of baseball?
Isn't it? It's unreal, man. I don't know what to do with it. And I can't even come up with a topic right now. Like I thought about it. Like what. Because, over here I can do whatever I want to do. But, like, when I'm over there where you guys are, like on Sunday, I'm expected to actually do radio and not just, piss into a microphone, right? So I don't even know what topic I can come up with. I can't. There's nothing that I've got.
We were talking the other day, like, because it's bad in all areas, like, what is the biggest concern? Because you can make an argument for everything. The rotation, the bullpen.
Yep.
The defense, and then the offense. If you take out that 9-1 game, they got 3 and 6 hits.
Yeah, Rita and I got into we tried to almost turn that into a fight the other night because Rita's like, I'm angrier at the offense than I am. I'm like, well, I get that, but they've still scored the second most runs in the American League. I can't really put this on.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that anymore, though. They scored 17 runs against the Yankees at the Bronx, and they've been a garbage baseball team ever since.
They've been awful since that. There's no doubt they've been awful since that, and I don't like.
Let me ask you this, and tell me if I'm crazy. Cedric Mullins last night swings at a 3-0 pitch and pops out foul to the third. I'd have benched his ass.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, and I like Cedric.
Well, except for
at some point you got to wake this team up, put Austin Slater in left, and put Cowser in center, and say, you know what?
Yeah, but Cedric's been one of the few guys that's been producing recently.
Is he though? Like the 2 guys that are producing of later, Austin Slater and Ramon Arias.
Those guys by surprise. But no, Mullins over the last month has been producing. It's just
he's okay. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to pretend.
That's unacceptable.
I'm not trying to make him Ken Griffin. But that's where we are. Hey, here's the question really becomes, did he improvise on his own, or did they like come to it and say, hey, let's be more aggressive on 3-0. Let's try to get things going. I don't know, because they could be throwing anything at the wall right now to try to see if it works. I have no idea.
By the way, when did Adley Rutschman become homeless Wade Boggs? Like he's got no power. Everything is soft contact.
Well, and he doesn't work counts like he used to either, and
he doesn't work counts at all.
That was the thing. That was where the joy was in watching Adley Rutschman. That popped up on my on this Facebook on this day today. Is that like 2 years ago there was a game that completely changed because Adley Rutschman worked a count, and I was just like, oh, sex is great and all, but have you ever watched Adley Rutschman work a count?
Yeah, he stopped doing that this year, and I also think he's hurt. Like he can't he can't get the ball to second base on the fly.
Hey, we're having a good time, man. We're having a
can jam.
I got good news. Maryland football is back next week, and so we'll have we'll have that going.
And now with Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA in the conference.
But you don't have to be in the same division as Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan.
No, but you got to go to Austin this year. That's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. Oregon's one of those weird teams where, like, every couple of years they're good to disappoint you. Like every couple.
I'm an Oregon fan.
Yeah, every couple of years, like they are due to just somehow completely let you down and find yourself saying, "What is going on here?"
I've lived it.
Yeah,
I think they have the right coach now, though.
I think you're right about that. I do think you're right about that too. All right, I got nothing. I got nothing else.
Hey, the Ravens are coming.
Yeah, there's that. None of the games matter until January. That's the most difficult part about all this.
Lamar can win all the MVPs he wants, but if he can't win the playoffs,
no one cares. It really is almost no win in the season opener. They could go beat the Chiefs by 3 touchdowns on the road to open the season, and it would be good for that's neat. That's exactly what you would get out of it.
Glenn, I will leave you with good news. I am not working today because I'm going to Philadelphia to see Springsteen tonight.
Oh, that's neat. I think I'm going to the Camden Yards show, actually.
I will be there as well.
I'm going to be there for that. All right, maybe we can here's what we'll do.
We'll have a beverage.
I was going to say let's have a tailgate. Are you hosting a tailgate? Because I'll bring Can Jam and we can practice, all right?
I don't. So that's a Friday, so I'm working. So I'm heading down after
Wait, you're taking the day off today, but you won't take the day off for the Baltimore show?
Because it takes 90 minutes at least to get to Philadelphia. So it's like,
true. That's true. All right,
Baltimore, I just hop on 83 and bing, bam, boom, I'm there.
All right. I love you, pal, even though you have been terribly offensive.
I feel like you've moved me a little.
Yeah, and maybe just show some more respect to truly great athletes, if you don't mind.
You know what? I was wrong. I do need to respect the game and the player.
Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
See you, man. See you.
It's Ken Weinman. You know him from Inside Access. Apparently, the Pro Football Hall of Fame has made a change.
The Bill Belichick rule?
Yeah, that's what it appears to be. They are separating the coach and contributor categories and reducing the waiting period for retired coaches to become eligible for induction to 1 year. So basically, Bill Belichick, and I got to see how this works, because if they're taking him out of does that mean that he could go in? He could go in next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah. He can go in next year. But that's also awkward, too, because does he have to tell you that he's retired? Because didn't Bill Belichick sort of leave it open, like, well, I'm not saying I'm done.
Yeah, and it seemed almost
the league told
likely,
him the league told Pete Carroll retired. He retired, announced it, said, I'm done. So, like, if they deem him worthy, they could put him in next year. But I'm pretty sure Belichick.
They announced the new class in February. Yeah, they announced
at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So he'll, if he's coaching, I guess.
You would presume he's gotten a job by that
January 1st.
By the week
of
the Super Bowl.
1st, but yeah.
But does he have to come out and say, I'm retired? It's sort of like, remember, with Tavon Austin, we were all like, hey, man, you've not played a game in the league for a few years. But he just hadn't said he was retired. I don't know how that works with coaches, and I'm not going to. It's way too. This news item from the Pro Football Hall of Fame is way too long. It's that tweet. It's the I ain't reading all that. I'm happy for you, or
sorry
it happened. That's what it is. It's just way too much. But yeah, looks like they have changed the rules so that Bill Belichick could get into the Hall of Fame next year. And I don't know. I guess the idea of separating coaches and contributors is to try to get some like former GMs, maybe owners, things, give them a better chance, because it's always been difficult. Like people that were direct impact on the game versus people that were like secondary impact. If you were measuring, this is not the reason why Art Modell hasn't gotten into the Hall of Fame, and I don't think it's going to – look, man, I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you that I believe that Art Modell was going to get into the Hall of Fame, but I think we're past that at this point. Like, they're not going to let that man be in the Hall of Fame, which sucks, and I hate it. Like, I hate it. But I think it's just pretty clear that they're going out of their way to do everything in their power to make sure that it never happens. But even in a normal world, like, let's just – who's a more recent a quality owner?
There are none.
Yeah, I understand your argument, sir. I get it. But let's try to come up with one anyway. Rooney. Is Dan Rooney in the
Okay.
Is hang on a second. Did I say Dan Rooney? Is Art Rooney in I genuinely don't know. Is Art Rooney in the Hall of Fame? Art Rooney. Yeah, he is in the Hall of Fame. So he wouldn't be the one. Whoever he wanted to be.
Is he in as a whole as an owner?
He was only an owner.
Oh, okay. So
I don't know what else he would be in for.
Okay, yeah.
He was only an owner. He wasn't never played.
I was thinking he was younger than he is.
Art Rooney's been dead for years.
Well, I know that, but I thought like he.
Hang on a second.
You're right. You're right because he was inducted in 1964.
But you know, maybe maybe there's an argument made for Dan Rooney too, right? Like Dan Rooney's also they're both in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So
first of all, there's an argument for neither.
Yeah, I understand. They're Steelers. Go F them. But they're both in the Hall of Fame, so it's the wrong people. Okay. But you get the point. Take just whatever owner had a good run. You know, maybe Steve Bisciotti down the line, right? Mm-hmm. Like Super Bowl champion. You know, did the right things. Had a model organization for the most part, right? And they're having a conversation about Steve Bisciotti. But he's being measured against – I'm trying to think of a modern player that's going to not get in immediately. He's being measured against – I get it, but yeah, sure, Marshall Yonda. Well, how is anyone going to pick Steve Bisciotti over Marshall? And Marshall Yonda played the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would even say it's the same thing. How are you going to measure Steve Bisciotti against John Harbaugh as far as their worthiness? John Harbaugh is more worthy.
Is Robert Kraft a better example? Or?
Well, Robert Kraft seems like he's a slam dunk. Like 6 Super Bowls, man. Like there's not going to be a whole lot of debate about Robert Kraft. It's more someone that it's not as overwhelming for. I get the idea of separating coach from contributor because they want more contributors to have a path into the Hall of Fame. And, again, that should make us say maybe that improves Art Modell's chances. I don't think so. I hate it. I just don't think that there's anything that's going to improve Art Modell's chances, unfortunately. It's just the reality of the circumstances. All right. Is there anything that we didn't get to that we I got a busy. I could be okay with wrapping up.
Okay.
Why?
I think
what?
there was something. I don't know. There's nothing then.
Did you have something?
No,
or not?
I thought I did, and then it either escaped my mind or not important.
All right. We didn't do fighting words yesterday. Did you have anything that mattered that you wanted to
No,
cover?
Izzy lost, so I was pretty disappointed. But it was
how'd your bets go?
Horrible, horrible.
Is that the reason why you weren't? Is that because I mentioned to Griffin at the end of the show yesterday that normally he reminds me that we haven't
maybe
done fighting words.
Subconsciously.
Yesterday he did not remind me. He didn't even bring it up afterwards. It was me who brought it up. I was like, we didn't do fighting words.
I make picks like for every card, and that was far and away my worst performance of the entire year this past weekend. Of course, the 1 week I decided to share out, everything that I like.
Way to go!
And yeah, just horrible. I mean, I said to my friend going into the Izzy fight, I said, well, at this point, I mean, at the rate I'm going, Izzy has absolutely no shot to win, and I ended up being right. Well, wrong, I guess, but right that Izzy was going to lose because I picked him. So yeah, but it was a good night. Tai Tuivasa lost. So yeah, that was the other one where I was so confident that fight's no way this fight goes the distance. That fight went the distance. Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. They fired a judge like literally in the mid card because Jairzinho ended up winning. He won the fight. But there was a judge. It was a split decision because one judge gave Tai Tuivasa a 30-27. They gave him all 3 rounds. And in no way, in no world did Ty win all 3, maybe 1. He might have won 1 round.
Okay.
And this judge gave him all 3. And they
said, you're out.
Yeah, about 10 minutes later, they were like, and just so everyone knows, I forget the guy's name, Dan Wolf, whatever the guy's name was.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's not.
That's pretty funny.
He's been pulled from the card.
That's pretty funny.
That was probably the biggest, outside of the title fight, the biggest
The
thing that
good
happened.
news for you is because picks come back next week, we probably aren't going to be able to do fighting words for a little while. The
Unfortunate.
bad news for you is your football picks weren't great last year either.
No,
so.
which means I can only get better.
Oh, okay. That's a good way of
Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'm
way.
excited. It's going to be a big
considering
year.
that. I guess that is possible. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and wind things down. Let's get a tidbit.
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Derek says it's funny that you brought up flipping over to watch something else because Eric Arditi actually asked the same thing last night on Twitter. Is what did everybody flip over and watch instead of watching the Orioles game? Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I mean, is that really where we are?
I mean, it was not. I mean,
it was
by about the sixth inning.
It was as
over.
spiritless and gross as anything you could possibly imagine. On top of, like, it's one thing if that game happens in June, you're like, all right, well, everybody has one of those, but it's more just like.
I was like, oh, Thursday night,
This is what it is, man.
Big national TV game. Definitely sitting down to watch this.
All right, well, what you got for tidbit?
So another Scott Service one come from Buster Olney. It was actually 2 weeks ago that he tweeted that he shared this. That I couldn't find right away. I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it right away. So Scott Service has the second best career managerial record in one-run games over the last 100 years.
Huh.
Yes, he is 235 and 183, a 562 winning percentage.
That's what happens when you don't score any
one-run
runs.
games. Yeah.
Is you have to win one run.
Yeah. Any idea who it would be number one? Best record in one-run games.
Torrey, because he had Rivera.
No.
It's a little surprising, honestly. You would think that it would have to be teams with prominent closers. Like, why would they be so specific? Yeah, to make sure that you win one-run games, you would think that logic is there. Now, it doesn't mean that it's the case, but there's logic to it. I don't know. We'll just say good. Pinella.
No, not
Cox.
Pinella. No. Spent his entire managerial career in Baltimore.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of surprising. Earl
Weaver, number one, 451 and 335 in one-run games in his career.
That's weird, man.
574 winning percentage.
I mean, I get that the Orioles magic was a thing, and they had late heroics and all that, but like you just don't associate Earl Weaver. Historically, you don't associate Earl Weaver teams with particularly close.
Yeah, and then finally from Sarah Langs, Joey Votto led the league in on-base 7 times in his career.
Sounds about right.
Only 4 others in the history of baseball have done it more.
I can't believe there are people that did it more?
Yes. One fella did it 12 times, led the league in on base.
Oh, it wouldn't be. I was going to say Ichiro would be my guess.
Not Ichiro.
If he had started in America.
Ichiro.
Maybe. Led the league in on base. I'll still say Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, yes. He did it 10 times, leading the league on base percentage. Tied for the second most.
How about... Damn. How about Tony Gwynn?
Not Tony Gwynn. I want to know.
How about... Just trying to think of hitters. How about Wade Boggs?
Wade Boggs only did it 6 times.
Oh, what a bum. What a loser.
Tony Gwynn only led the league in on base.
Well, he wasn't a walk guy. Ted Williams?
Ted Williams, the most.
Okay.
12 seasons did he lead the league in on base percentage.
I mean, I'm right to try to find hitters.
Mm-hmm. Ted Williams, Barry Bonds. 2 more.
I don't know. Ricky Henderson.
Not Ricky.
How about Pete Rose?
Not Pete Rose.
How about Babe Ruth?
Babe Ruth, 10 times, tied with Barry Bonds.
about
Ricky only led the league once.
Okay. How about imagine if he had. About Ty Cobb.
Not Ty Cobb. Yeah, imagine if he had.
Frank Thomas.
Not Frank Thomas.
Edgar Martinez.
Not Edgar.
Cool, man.
He's
Just cool.
Old time baseball player during the same era as Babe.
Oh, I'm going back that far again. Rogers Hornsby.
Really? Well done. Really? Led the league 9 times in on base. 2 other guys to do it 6 times. Just give them to you. Josh Gibson.
Okay.
One of them in Stan Musial.
That's Josh Gibson. It's that's because they put the Negro League stats in this year, so that's cool.
Yes.
And Stan Musial. All right. Very good. Very good. Let's get tubular.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
All right, here's what's coming up this weekend, totally tubular-wise. The Orioles and Astros play 3 more games.
Sweet.
Tonight, 7:05 on Masson 2, Hunter Brown and Cade Povich.
They got Corbin Burns going later in the... No.
Tomorrow, 4:05 on Masson 2, Framber Valdez and Albert Suarez. They do have the ace going, which is nice. They do get to throw their ace on Saturday. And on Sunday, 7:10 on ESPN, Yusei Kikuchi and... God, who would that be on Sunday? Who's pitching?
So Rogers pitched Monday.
Yeah.
Dean pitched
Tuesday.
So yeah, Dean.
Yeah.
They just haven't announced it.
I guess, or they're still trying to keep everybody on extra rest, and they're going to call somebody else. But Brandon Young is going to get the start. I don't know. TBA still on Sunday. That's Sunday Night Baseball. Great. This is the team you want to put on national TV. Ravens Packers 1:00 tomorrow on NBC or on WBAL. It's not on NBC.
Heck of a debut for Brandon Young.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. It's on WBAL locally if you want to watch the Ravens game, and if you do, God love you. You're a sicko. College football tomorrow noon. ESPN. Florida State, Georgia Tech from Dublin. New Mexico plays a game tomorrow at 4 on Fox Sports 1 against Montana State. They're the Bobcats, right? Montana State. CBS Sports Network, a huge ACC Mountain West showdown as SMU takes on Nevada at 8 o'clock. There's some FCS football this weekend, too.
Celebration Bowl? No.
Yeah, no, that's at the end of the year.
That's at the end of the
FCS kickoff game on ESPN, Southeast Missouri State and North Alabama at 7. And ABC's got the MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff, Norfolk State and Florida A&M at 7:30. Also, Tarleton and McNeese at 3:30 on ESPN2 on Saturday. So,
sweet.
There's football.
All televised.
There is football. That's except for the Hawaii game for some reason. We're not allowed to watch that. Maryland soccer. Maryland UMBC finishing a 1-1 draw last night over in Catonsville. Maryland plays Georgetown Saturday night 7:30 on Big Ten Network. Plus, everything else you can find at glennclarkradio.com.
Mount St. Mary's plays Robert Morris 4 p.m. on ESPN Plus Sunday. With myself, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll be in attendance.
Thank you. On the call, I assume?
Yeah, on the call.
Say in attendance. Like, you might see me in the stand. What else you got?
Non-sports-wise, I had stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's today? Friday?
Yeah.
It's the series finale of Lady in the Lake.
Oh, okay.
On Apple TV Plus.
All right.
That's Kevin Costner, right? Horizon American Saga.
Okay.
Chapter 1 is streaming now.
By the way, I did watch the McNair Untold. I don't know what I feel about it. I don't know. I don't think they did an awful job.
Okay, that's good.
Like the problem being, there's a lot of problems. It's saying it's sort of like we're just asking the questions too. It almost feels like if you're going to do this, you better have something more.
That's what. So that was. I haven't watched many of the Untolds. The only one that I watched was start to finish was the Johnny Manziel one, and it was like, oh yeah, the first I guess 2/3 of it, I'm like, yeah, this is really good, and then it just doesn't wrap up because it's like there's no end to this story. It's just like, he was crazy in college.
Yeah, it makes you worry that like he's not better.
Yeah,
like it makes you worry that he's not in a better place. Like that was what I felt from watching that one. I thought the Manti Te'o one
there was some closure with that one.
I thought they put everything back together in a way that I hadn't really seen it. Like ESPN tried, but Manti Te'o wouldn't participate in it, and so like that was missing, unfortunately, because he was going to do the Untold. He'd said he wouldn't participate in ESPN's. The Florida one was obviously awful. I mean, it's one of the worst things ever made. I guess my thing with if you're going to go there and you're going to go, there's this conspiratorial, it wasn't actually her, someone else came and murdered both of them, which like the police have said a million times, like, no, that doesn't work. Like that.
That's somebody else just random.
It's just your theory. And the holes that, like, there's this independent investigator who's like built this like following around the idea of, well, the police never really investigated this lead. And like it doesn't actually do anything. And like when you go down that road, it's like, well, we feel like we have to explore the fact that there's these people that think this other thing. But it doesn't help anything because you're not presenting any strong evidence that backs them up. It's more just like, well, but that is interesting, isn't it? Like, and I just don't know that it's worth continuing to rehash that. Like, I just don't. I don't want to say I regret watching it because it's not as bad as the Florida thing was, but that's a very low bar. But there's nothing that comes from it. Like
yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that it was a thing.
So it feels like that might be that's just how all the Untolds go.
Maybe
like there's just no actual closure to these stories. But then I don't know. Why are you telling them?
Yeah.
On Netflix, incoming movie. This is it's about 4 freshmen that get ready for their first high school party. Doesn't look terrible. It was giving like Project X vibes, but it's definitely not like Project X. Like it doesn't look like it's anywhere near as good as Project X.
It seems a little young for
to have like a hardcore party. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But it was, I don't know.
Or for like to be able to enjoy, like, you know, that these
it's rated R. So
yeah, it seems like a little bit of a young concept. Like when you do it with like high school kids in general, it always feels a little hinky. But like when it's high school seniors, you're like, okay, that's how everybody was as a high school senior. Doing it with that's 13. Those are children.
Yeah,
I don't know that I like that.
We'll see if anyone does.
Yeah.
On Peacock, The Killer. It's a reboot of, or am I using that word right? I think I'm using that word. Or a reboot of the 1989 one. But it's Natalie Emmanuel and Sam Worthington. Lupita Nyong'o's in it. Omar Sy. They're just I didn't know. I forget what the other killer is about, but they're just trying to kill people.
Okay.
I think that was the gist of it. What I got.
Okay.
And of course on the Roku channel, Jessica Alba's home renovation show, season 2.
Can't miss that. Can't miss that.
And part 2 of Chimp Crazy. If anybody's watching that, I don't know if anybody is.
Yeah, I didn't, but you were trying to sell me on it, and I regret. All right, very good. Thanks today to Ken Weinman. Thanks to Pete Shinnick from Towson. Thanks also to Mike Jones. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Tab at Glenn Clark.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel more deflated about it.
It's just depressing. Monday, Vernon Davis will join us. Chat with former. He's got a book out. It's called Playing Ball. Legendary former Terps tight end, longtime NFL tight end. We'll catch up with VD. Not the bad VD, the good VD. We'll catch up with him on Monday.
What's the bad VD?
Venereal disease.
Oh, okay.
That's the bad VD. Yikes.
I don't know. People abbreviated it.
Yeah. You don't remember the Eminem song, and you tell the whole world how you gave Eminem VD. I'm sick of all you girl and boy groups. All you do is annoy me. I
would have liked to have seen him rhyme venereal disease, though.
Yeah, that would have been an effort. What
else do people call it, VD?
No, what else was I going to plug?
Oh,
Sunday, Reed and I are on 12 to 2. I feel like I'm falling asleep. Like, this is not good. Where's my energy, man? Sunday, Reed and I are 12 to 2 over on 105.7 The Fan. Arthur Millette joins us live in studio to make a very special announcement.
What could that be?
Weird, right? Could be anything. Could be all sorts of things. But Arthur Millette will join us in studio Sunday on 105.7 The Fan to announce something, anything at all. Who knows what it might be?
Are you holding something up? Wait.
We'll announce it with Arthur Millette on Sunday on 105.7 The Fan. Well, we'll make the announcement of the thing. Could be anything. Bat around tomorrow morning. Paul and Ryan with you at 10 a.m. talking baseball as well. I think that's all we got. I think that's all I need to plug. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Maryland 5-Star Live Casino and Hotel. Visit Hagerstown in Washington County. Cruise Maryland, Ocean City, Easy Pass. Royal Farms, the Ed Block Courage Awards, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, the Costas Inn, MSAA, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great weekend. Go Birds!
Please.
For the love of God, go Birds! Duke's up.